In Australia, more than 38,000 missing persons reports are received by the police each year. While most people are found within a short period of time, there remain approximately 2,600 long-term missing persons, those who have been missing for more than 3 months. The impact on their families and friends is devastating. Will you be the one to help solve one of these unsolved missing persons cases? Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Andrea M and this is Missing Down Under. Today we are looking at the recent and ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Ballarat mother Samantha Murphy and revisiting 2 previous cases that have updates and are still open and active. But before we begin, may I please ask you to consider subscribing to my channel if you've not done so already and you're enjoying the content. With that said, let's begin. Case number 1, Samantha Murphy. So many of my Australian viewers and probably some of my international viewers as well will be very familiar with this case as it is happening now and is ongoing. Samantha Murphy, 51, has been missing since Sunday, the 4th of February 2024. So at this stage, nobody has seen or heard from Samantha for going on to 2 weeks and a little more by now. Samantha left her Eureka Street home at 7 a.m. to go for a run and is believed to have headed to the Wuwukurrung Regional Park to the southeast of Ballarat. After Samantha failed to return home for a family event at 11 a.m, her family reported her as missing to Victoria Police. Samantha's disappearance is considered to be very out of character, with the police at first not identifying any sinister factors relating to it. Searches for Murphy carried out over several days by police and other emergency services have failed to find any trace of Murphy or what happened to her. As the case has progressed over the last fortnight and the family has been working with the Victoria Police, the police have made the announcement late last week that given the length of time Samantha has been missing and the fact at present that she appears to have disappeared without a trace, foul play is now not being ruled out. So, 2 of the family members of Samantha Murphy have reached out to the press and to the police and the public in general, and they believe that she has been met with foul play. And what they have said, and this is a direct quote from the family members, somebody would have had to have been watching her. I can't think it would be anything else. And that was from Samantha's aunt Janice Robson, and she said that on Thursday of last week. Somebody who she didn't know was stalking her. That is Janice Robson's belief. Miss Murphy, 51, is believed to have left her Eureka Street home in East Ballarat for a run into bushland at about 7 a.m. on February 4, and she has never returned. So as I said before, it's 2 weeks since she vanished. So Victoria Police have said Mrs. Murphy's disappearance is indeed suspicious. You can call it unusual or suspicious, but it certainly is of significant concern to us, and this was from Chief Commissioner Shane Patton on Wednesday. In researching this case, I also came across a segment from the Kenny Report on Sky News, and that was with a forensic psychologist named Tim Watson-Munro, and his professional opinion on what may have occurred during Mrs. Murphy's disappearance. So I'm going to pop it in here so you can take a look.
Now let's go to this missing persons case that is fascinating and troubling the whole country. 51-year-old mother of 3, Samantha Murphy, hasn't been seen since she left her Ballarat home for a jog 8 days ago. Dozens of volunteers continue to search for the missing mother despite police suspending their foot search. Let's bring in forensic psychologist Tim Watson-Munro. Thanks for joining us, Tim. Really would appreciate your insights. Of course, police are dealing with missing persons cases all the time. What is it about this case that makes it so troubling and so mysterious?
There's no evidence, Chris. She's literally vanished off the face of the earth. There's no clues at all. The police have wound back their search in the forest. they're relying on CCTV footage if it exists, video cameras from cars and so on. But I've never encountered a case like this where someone ostensibly goes for a run and they're never seen again. It's very unusual.
Well, police would be looking at all sorts of options, so they would know if they thought there was a possibility, a reason for her to run away, to disappear herself, if you like, or if anybody was out to get her. And there's been no indication of either of those. So what do you, as a forensic expert, as an analyst of these events, what do you think could have transpired here?
Well, I think that's correct, Chris. The family life seems to be happy. We saw harrowing footage the other day of a daughter who is in deep distress with her father. Look, there's a number of possibilities. One of them is that she'd been stalked for a while. I've done a lot of profiling. Stalkers love routine of their potential victims, so that they'll watch what their movements are, their activities and their routine. And that's one possible explanation. If you went for a run and she was abducted in a van or a car and taken away from the potential crime scene. So that's certainly one strong possibility I would suggest.
Yeah, that's a horrific scenario, Tim, but if that were the case, if something as sinister and as pre-planned as that occurred, of course searching in the immediate area isn't going to help.
Well, that's right, Chris, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why the police have wound back the physical search in the area. I gather that there was a ping from her mobile phone some distance away, and then it died out. So obviously a phone was either thrown away as a decoy or she made it that far and then the phone died out. But the fact that there's no evidence, there's no witnesses, if you follow that line of inquiry, then you're dealing with a fairly calculating, intelligent person who understands forensic procedures and somebody who knows a lot about evidence and covering their tracks.
Terribly
if they're
troubling.
that clever and psychopathic, it's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, it's terribly worrying, that sort of worst-case scenario. Thanks so much for joining us, Tim. Appreciate it. Tim Watson-Munro there, who's a forensic psychologist.
So as you can see from what Mr. Munro is suggesting, any number of factors may have been involved in Samantha's disappearance. In a statement, Victoria Police said officers had uncovered still nothing sinister, but it doesn't mean that she didn't meet with something sinister. They just don't know at this stage. So the fact that she has been gone for over 2 weeks now and they haven't located any trace of her despite a significant investigation remains suspicious in itself, and it is certainly highly concerning for the police. So detectives are currently following up on hundreds of pieces of information in relation to this matter, including the review of CCTV from that area. Police are also continuing to conduct targeted searches of the local area. The force said its investigation was active and ongoing and urged anyone who has seen Ms. Murphy or has footage of the area to come forward. Samantha is also described as being both physically and mentally healthy and is a much-loved family woman. On Thursday, Mrs. Murphy's daughter Jess urged the Ballarat community to not lose hope in the search for her mother. And Jess would go on to say that Mum's a really strong woman and she's far too determined to give up this fight. She also said, "I know she's out there somewhere. So if you could please continue to search for her and give us something to work with, we'd really appreciate it." So the call was echoed by her father, Mrs. Murphy's husband, Michael. "People just don't vanish into thin air," he said. "Somebody's got to know something." So another factor of concern for the police and the family members is, it seems, Samantha's cell phone, which family members say she was never without, has not pinged off any of the towers in the near vicinity since the disappearance, and it's not a good sign. So Mrs. Murphy's uncle and aunt, Alan and Janice Robson, also told the Daily Mail on Thursday that foul play was the explanation that made the most sense. "It's just like she's gone off the face of the earth. There's nothing," said Miss Robson. "You'd think the police dogs would have been able to pick up her scent. They should have been able to pick up where she ran into the forest." And the couple also said the fact that Ms. Murphy's phone hadn't made communication with a mobile tower since she went missing didn't bode well, as we just kind of covered a little earlier. Ms. Robson would also say she would never switch that phone off. That phone was always hooked up. Her uncle also wondered if it was because she went for a morning run so regularly that she could have been stalked by somebody who knew her routine. And a possible motive could have been a robbery that went wrong, as he told the Mail, as it may have been known that the Murphys were financially secure. The search for missing woman Samantha Murphy has been scaled back in the Woowookarung Regional Park in regional Victoria. And that is because investigators may believe, just going on what our forensic psychologist specialist was saying, is she may have been taken to a different location, and that's why they're not finding any trace of Samantha in the Woowookarung region. Her uncle also said that she would have put up a bloody good fight if somebody had tried to grab her. His wife added that if Ms. Murphy suspected something was wrong, that she didn't think that she'd hang around that area, and that she was a runner and she was a good runner, and she would have gotten away from the area if she was feeling threatened in any capacity. So on Wednesday, Chief Commissioner Patton said there were still no new leads into the investigation headed by the Missing Persons Squad. He went on to say, "It is certainly unusual when we haven't been able to locate any trace of her or any other evidence within that period of time," he said. And as he said before, it is suspicious whether that means there's foul play involved or not. He also said he doesn't know, but obviously the detectives are investigating a matter where a woman has been missing for a very significant period of time. And this news report just to hand from yesterday via 7 News Australia, where a reporter actually spoke to Samantha's husband, Michael. Now, while Mr. Murphy was way too upset to appear on camera, reporter Cassie Zervis would relay the following. Take a look.
Crime reporter Cassie Zervos is at police headquarters for us tonight. Hello, Cassie. You've spoken to Samantha's husband.
Well, Beck, it's a case that's captured the nation. 2 weeks ago, Samantha Murphy left her Ballarat home to go for a run, but never came back. Today, her husband was too upset to speak on camera, but told 7 News his family are doing the best they can under the circumstances. When asked if there was a message he'd like to get out to the community, Mr. Murphy said, "Just that we want Sam home, please." Detectives from the Missing Persons Squad are leading this case. They work alongside the Homicide Squad and probe suspicious disappearances, but are working with very few clues, making this investigation a complicated and meticulous one.
They would be looking at a different line of endeavour now, looking at telecommunication, GPS positioning, social media, speaking with significant others in the community and the family.
Police are also calling on the public for help. Anyone with information, no matter how small that is urged to come forward. It could be the missing piece in finding Samantha and bringing her home to her distraught family. Beck.
Cassie Zervos reporting live. Thank you.
So, while her phone has not been picked up by any of the towers following the disappearance, it has come to light. It was found that Mrs. Murphy's mobile phone signalled a cellular tower in Buninyong, approximately 14 kilometres from her home. While a potential tool in the search for Murphy, the signal is not able to pinpoint the precise location of the mobile phone, as doing so would require a number of cell towers, whereas the regional area where Murphy disappeared has cellular towers that provide a significant coverage over a large area. A police-issued image of Murphy depicts her wearing an Apple Watch. However, no data from the watch's SOS technology or GPS mapping features has been found. So, it's just making me wonder, did they destroy... If she was... I probably shouldn't be putting forward my theories on this, but it's just making me wonder if she was in fact grabbed, did they destroy her phone and her watch so that she cannot be located, or are they simply just run out of battery, it's a little hard to say. But it just makes you wonder that. But that, I'm not saying that's what's happened, but it's a possibility. So, in a further twist to the disappearance of Samantha, and there has been a lot of things being bandied about as comes out in these cases. So, there were reports of attacks in the forest where she liked to run. On the 11th of February 2023, a woman was attacked by an unknown male while running on a motorcycle track in the Lalal State Forest. The victim was knocked unconscious with a rock tied to a stick and suffered serious injuries, requiring her to be hospitalised. The attack occurred less than 20 kilometres away from the location where Murphy had headed for a run on the day she disappeared. A former member of the Victoria Police Homicide Squad believes the attack may be linked to Samantha's disappearance. And we're not saying that it is linked. That is just the former homicide squad detective's suspicion that it could be linked. We're not saying it is. Samantha Murphy is aged 51 years old, has shoulder-length blonde hair, is 173 centimetres tall with a slim build. She was last seen wearing black knee-length leggings and a maroon tank top on the day she disappeared. She was seen leaving her Eureka Street home at Ballarat East at about 7 a.m. on Sunday, February 4. She is married to Michael Murphy and is the mother of 3 children. If you know anything that could help lead police to the whereabouts of Samantha Murphy, please call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. And we always keep Samantha and her family and friends in our hearts and prayers that she is soon safely reunited with her loved ones. So the next case we moved to was a case that happened right here in the Clarence Valley towards the end of last year. And there's been a slight update for this one. And this one is personal to me because he came from my local area. He's a local boy and he was somebody that everybody in the area really liked, really respected. So we are hoping that sooner or later we find answers to what happened to this next missing person, and the next missing person is Clarence Valley man Daniel Copeland. So Daniel Copeland, or Danny, as he is known to his family, friends here in Maclean, has been missing without a trace since September 3, 2023, near Maclean, New South Wales. And the day that he actually went missing was Father's Day night last year. So despite an extensive search undertaken by police and Danny's family and a large group of the local community, no sign has ever been found of Danny. Police have on February 15 released the following CCTV camera footage of Daniel Copeland in the hopes of it helping to locate his whereabouts. And also we have this from NBN News Australia.
Police rescue and National Parks crews searching for any sign of Daniel Copeland, missing since September 3.
We are concerned in relation to Daniel's safety and whereabouts, and it is out of character for him to be away and out of contact from family for so long.
The 40-year-old man's family telling NBN News it's desperate for answers, describing him as a lovable person who would willingly help anyone in need. He's about 165 centimetres tall with a stocky build, a blonde mohawk and distinctive tattoos on his arms and back. When he went missing, he was wearing Cowboys NRL shorts and a green long-sleeve shirt with a black hoodie. One of the last places Mr Copeland was seen was here on River Street at Maclean, leaving a unit around 4:30 p.m. It was Father's Day, and it's understood he had notified his employer that he wouldn't be at work the next 2 days.
Since that time, no one has seen Daniel. Investigators have established that Daniel left the area, and we believe that he left in a small silver motor vehicle.
They're again calling for anyone with dashcam vision or CCTV to come forward.
Or who may have picked him up hitchhiking on Big River Way around Tynedale on Father's Day evening, shortly after 8:30.
Police say the search operation may move to other parts of the region in the coming days.
If you have any information that can help police locate our local man, Danny Copeland, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. And I've actually spoken briefly to a cousin of Danny's through YouTube, and they are very much wanting Danny home and are extremely concerned for his safety. So please, if you know anything that can help, please speak up. You may remain anonymous if you so wish. And our final case, which is also still open, you may remember I covered the disappearance of Sydney woman Jessica Zarinsky around about a year ago. Jessica also has still not been located. So Jessica Zarinsky was last seen in the Bosley Park area of Sydney. And that was at around 10 p.m. on November 27, 2022. Since then, investigations have revealed that Ms. Zarinsky was in the car park of a hotel in Greenfield Park in Western Sydney on November 28, where she reportedly jumped into a blue Holden Commodore with a man she had only just met. Police have also released CCTV footage of the car and who they believe to be Jessica Zarinsky sitting in the passenger seat. It is believed she was spotted riding in the car at two locations, being Horsley Park and then Mount Victoria. Now, when you see the footage, you will see that the first time she is spotted, it's actually at night at Horsley Park, and then when the next time we see the car coming back, it's daytime at Mount Victoria, and it is believed that she actually went into the Blue Mountains with this gentleman and that they were coming back the next day. And the thing I find interesting, if you look really, really closely at the car when it comes back in the daylight at Mount Victoria, is there is like a bunch of weeds or a branch or something sticking out the side of the car. So where did they go to have a branch or whatever it is sticking out the side of the car? And in the second video, you cannot see much of Jessica, but it is believed that she is sitting in the passenger seat. But in the first video, you can see she's very much alive. She's untroubled. She's sitting there. She's playing with her hair. She's smiling. The second video, you can't see her that well. So it's hard to say if she's still sitting up there and she's happy or if something more sinister has taken place. And it may not be the same circumstances in how she returned from the Blue Mountains. But we have no evidence either way to say whether Jessica was transported back from the Blue Mountains still breathing or not. So we don't know that. We don't know what her condition was when she was coming back. It's just makes me wonder, because I just find it weird that there's a big bunch of something sticking out the side of the car, and you'll see that when you look at the CCTV footage, so have a look. Jessica's family are still desperate for answers, and on the anniversary of her disappearance on November 27, 2023, so that's just a few weeks ago, the New Year's still very new, Jessica's family are still desperate for answers, and on the anniversary of her disappearance on November 27, 2023, so that's just a few weeks ago, the New Year's still very new, Jessica's family are still desperate for answers, and on the anniversary of her disappearance on November 27, 2023, so that's just a few weeks ago, the New Year's still very new. Back at late 2023, New South Wales Police offered a $500,000 reward in hope that it would lead to information that will help find the 30-year-old. It has also been reported a man who has spent several days with Jessica before she disappeared is refusing to talk to police. The police also know the identity of the man driving the car Jessica was seen riding in the CCTV footage, who has also declined to say anything about his movements that night or what may have happened to Jessica. Jessica missed her brother's wedding and the birth of her nephew, which is something she would never do and is extremely out of character. Her uncle Vlado Zarinsky said the man who last saw his niece was delaying his family from getting closure by not talking to the police. That man has spat in the face of my family's grief for a year. I really hope he comes forward, he said. We'd just like to bring her body and her wandering spirit home and put it to rest. Jessica Zarinsky was 30 years old at the time of her disappearance, with long blonde hair and a slender build. She was last seen wearing black slacks and a light-coloured tank top. Again, if you have any information that may assist the police in locating Jessica Zarinsky, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. And as always, I ask you to keep the missing and their families in your hearts and prayers, that maybe, just maybe, they all return safely home, or at least the families get the answers they seek and one last chance to say goodbye and lay their loved ones to rest in the manner they deserve. And this is where we leave Missing Down Under for this episode. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Stay safe, everybody.